This is the On CloudEclipse, which is not a shoe that I was looking to get, but my winnings for overall masters at Battleship Half made it pretty easy. So we're going to take it for its first run today and see if we can get some miles on it on our way to a review. Okay, good evening everyone, because it's evening when I'm recording this for once. Shoe talk time. We are here to talk about the On CloudEclipse, the first of its name. And I am not late to the party on this one. I know that all of the big shoe tubers have already done a review of it, but I'm going to give my take just because I was able to snag a pair and put some miles on it. I have just under 50 miles on it right now, and enough to pretty much know how I like it, what it's used for, what it's good at, what it's not good at, and to tell you what I think of it. So, 2 On shoes in 1 month. This is very uncharacteristic of me, if you know my history with On shoes. The one I reviewed before was the On Cloud Surfer 7, which superficially looks similar to the CloudEclipse until you hold them next to each other. And then you can really tell how much more built up the CloudEclipse is than the Cloud Surfer, at least when we're talking about the midsole, the cloud phase technology in the midsole. Now, if I were to compare the uppers of the two, the Cloud Surfer has this really puffy, comfortable, flexible, less structured, there's still plenty of structure, but less structured upper that is just really nice to step into and fit around your foot, whereas the CloudEclipse, more structured, more overlays, more secure lacing system, a bit firmer of a heel counter, less of the puffy padding around here, but still a good amount of padding, generally more structured, less of a puffy padded tongue. It's a thinner tongue that has enough padding over the laces, but the tongue stays in place better. Difference in weight. This shoe is at least an ounce, maybe an ounce and a half heavier on each foot than the CloudEclipse. So we're talking about between 30 and 40 grams heavier per shoe. I don't weigh my shoes. Every now and then I'll look up the specs. I've seen, high 9-point-something ounces to low 10-point-something ounces for this. If we were going to call it 10 ounces, that would be 280 grams. I would say it's between 280 and 300 grams in my men's size 9.5, if I had to guess. Other differences between the two. The Cloud Surfer is very flexible for an On shoe because it lacks a speed board. The CloudEclipse, not as flexible. It does have a speed board, but unlike most other On shoes, its speed board is at the bottom here. You can tell it's a bit dirty from some of the mixed surfaces I've been running on. That is dirt. It's not anything else brown in color. But yeah, that speed board is just kind of that X shape rather than the full profile of the shoe. And it's down here at the ground level rather than next to the foot. So you really don't feel the speed board against your foot, which is one of the things that's great about it. Again, the thing that these two share in common is the cloud phase midsole technology, which I will just put it this way. Any shoe that On Running has, that has this cloud phase technology is something I'm going to pay attention to, because that is how they take their Helion foam, which I'm not a proponent of, and their cloud technology, which I'm also not a proponent of, and make it work. Just the way that the cloud phase collapses and cascades down on itself makes a very resilient ride. Helion, the Doctors of Running, I'm just going to mention, they have a great video about compliance and resilience as characteristics of foam, with compliance being how much the foam compresses and resilience being how much it returns to form, how much it returns to shape, or how quickly it does. Some foams are very compliant but not resilient. Some foams are very resilient and bouncy, but you don't get that feeling of compliance. I think the CloudEclipse splits the difference. It feels compliant, but you get resilience from it. So it's not like a quick bounce, but it's more like a sink into it, but it brings back all of what you take from it. Because the shock absorption is structural and it doesn't have to do with the durometer of the foam. And I mentioned that when I reviewed the Cloud Surfer as well. This, you really feel it more, I think, paired with the stability that comes with this ground level speed board, then you really get more of effect of that cloud phase technology. And it doesn't really feel all that heavy. It doesn't feel light, but it feels like a trainer ought to. And I'll talk about that. The cloud phase technology has a very unique feel flavor, and that's a term that I am going to copyright. By feel flavor, I mean just a particular feeling. Different foams have different characteristics. They have different feels, different flavors, as I like to call them. When I think about fresh foam, for example, not the fresh foam that's in the Fresh Foam X or Fresh Foam More necessarily, but the original fresh foam that came out in the Fresh Foam 980 like 10 years ago. That foam was not all that compliant at low speeds, but it seemed to soften up and become more compliant at high speeds. Whereas the Biomogo DNA that Brooks used to use in their Pure Project shoes was more compliant at slow speeds, but it firmed up at faster speeds. The feel flavor of the cloud phase technology in both of these shoes, this one even more so, the CloudEclipse even more so, is that you get the same feel flavor at a slow pace or a quicker pace. Whether I'm running 9+ minute miles, whether I'm getting under 7-minute miles, and I'm not going to really go much faster than that in this shoe, we'll talk about its uses, or whether I'm going uphill or downhill. It's the same feel flavor, it's the same resilience the whole time. That resilience may or may not be what you're looking for. Some people want something that's a little bit firmer on the uphill and softer on the downhill. This, you get the same reliable, expected, predicted ride, no matter what the grade of the terrain and no matter what speed you're going. So as just a mileage hog or as a recovery day shoe, that's kind of the use for this shoe. Also, as On shoes tend to be, it looks good. At least I think it looks good. It looks good with jeans. It has the looks good with jeans hashtag. Now, it's $180. I did not pay $180 for it. Let me disclose that right now, because I was able to get this with my winnings from first overall masters at Battleship Half Marathon. That made this a lot more accessible to me. I had tried this on in a store before then, along with the Saucony Triumph 21 and this shoe, which I haven't even run in yet, the New Balance Super Comp Trainer V2. And I went with the Super Comp Trainer just because this didn't feel like it was worth the price. But when I don't have to pay that, it's totally worth it. In retrospect, totally worth it. Would I pay $180 for this now? I don't know. Maybe. I would certainly tell people to consider it if they're looking for a cruiser, if they're looking for a long distance cruiser to eat up the miles that will last a while. And that is just a good trainer that you could use for other things, even other non-running things. Durability wise, it's going to hold up. The outsole rubber is only where it needs to be. I'm getting a little bit of abrasion in my high wear spot, but in that same spot there is no abrasion on the actual Helion foam itself. And as I talked about with the Cloud Surfer, the Helion foam is a high durometer foam, which means it'll last a while. And having that cloud phase technology, using that high durometer foam to have a very forgiving structural shock absorption system, I think is a good move by On. It's taking their cloud technology and putting it to the right use. Now, shoes that you would be looking at in the same price point as this. There's the aforementioned New Balance Super Comp Trainer V2, which has a carbon fiber plate. They call it their Energy Arc plate. If you want something unplated, I mean, this has a speed board, but it doesn't have a carbon fiber plate, then this wouldn't be what you want. This one, good for slow miles, good for fast miles, if it's anything like the original. But if you don't want a plate, then you might want to consider the CloudEclipse. This one, certainly, I might prefer for the slower miles. That's how I would use it. Also in that price range, Hoka Mach X, kind of the reverse for the Hoka Mach X. It can do the easy miles, but it really wants to go a little bit faster than easy. Like when you just want to pick up the pace a little bit, do a little DFE, which is, Derek Fake Easy or Dumb F Easy. Then this is good for that. This is also good for including some marathon pace in there if you want. I don't know that this one will last as long as the CloudEclipse. With the way the EVA is creasing and the PIBA foam, with it being softer, it will have less of a lifespan. This also has a plate, but it's a plastic plate. There's some mud on that shoe too. Things I would use, I would compare this to. I don't have the Triumph 20 or the Triumph 21. A lot of people would compare it to that. I tried on the 20 and the 21 at least a couple times each in the store, and I never really felt the excitement that people got from them, so I didn't buy them. But that, along with the Fresh Foam 1080 from New Balance, the Asics Gel Nimbus 25, and the New Balance Fresh Foam More V4. Both of these, though, thick boys, I would use for recovery runs. And I don't know that I would do a long run in these because they're just too soft and just too mushy. This one I would use for recovery runs, but I'd also use it for a long run. In my just under 50 miles in it, my longest run in it has been about 80 minutes. So I haven't taken it for a proper 2-hour long run, but in all of those runs, throughout the duration of the run, that resilient compliance has remained pretty constant. So I think it would do really well with a 2-hour long run. The price, if the price is an issue, then you might want to look at, some of the other super trainers. This is the Super Blast. Like the New Balance Super Comp V2. Because then you might be getting a few more features than you would for this. This is just, but this is something I could use every day if I wanted to. I won't because I have too many shoes, but it's a general use, mileage hog, easy day, recovery day. Can you pick up the pace? Sure, I even did strides in this and it felt just fine. But if you're getting this, odds are you have more than one running shoe anyway, and you probably have something different for the fast days. If you had both of these, they would pair really well together. You could use this for your faster days, your workouts, and then something else for race day. I have plenty of other videos about race shoes, so I could make all kinds of recommendations. If you like this, then a race day shoe that might be nice and firm would be something in the Asics Metaspeed line, like the Sky Plus or the Edge Plus. So those are my thoughts on the On CloudEclipse. Very forgiving, compliant, resilient, stable. I didn't have a lot of lateral movement in this shoe. And a good looking shoe, something that I traveled with when I traveled to Missouri for the Thanksgiving holiday. This, other than the Vaporflies that I raced the Turkey Trot in, this is the only other shoe I had for all of my day-to-day bebopping around and for all of my easy runs, and I'm very happy to have it. All right, so that's the On CloudEclipse. Thanks for listening to my shoe talk. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or share, and ding the bell for notifications. See you guys next time.